If you think the Mexican Riviera is just one big party or romantic getaway, we have a surprise for you. It's time to go beyond the big resorts and throbbing nightlife. Head deep into the Yucatan and witness a world far too few travelers ever see. This is the real, this is the raw Yucatan Peninsula.
Travel. For some, it's a luxurious escape, or maybe an adrenaline-filled adventure. But if you're like me, it's a precious opportunity to discover and to give back. It's time to get real. It's time to get raw. It's time for raw travel.
Since my college years, Cancun has been a hotspot for spring breakers and novice travelers who think of it as their one big international adventure. And you know what? That's okay. That's how yours truly began traveling as well. What I didn't know then, but found out on this trip, is that there is a whole lot more to the Mexican Riviera and even to Cancun than most people realize.
Hey guys, I just arrived to Cancun and I've been here a couple of hours and so far so good. I mean, I've been to Cancun at least a couple of other times before, but this time I want to have a very different experience. There's the Yucatan, there's lots of ecotourism to do, there's Chichen Itza, there's Mayan culture. In keeping with that experience, we decided to get a hotel outside of the hotel zone, outside of the tourist zone, and we're in downtown Cancun, which is really where the Mexicans and the people, the residents of Cancun live. So we're gonna have a very different experience and I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a different Cancun trip than ever before.
The hotel zone is full of big, all-inclusive resorts and luxury hotels, mostly owned by multinational corporations. Food, beaches, nightlife, security guards, it's all included in several places, giving many tourists an excuse to never leave the area. This creates an all-too-common scenario where an authentic travel experience in Cancun is almost as rare as spotting the elusive Jaguar. That said, I hear the nightlife can be fun, if that's your thing. But if you're like me and want something a bit more authentic and inexpensive, check out the smaller, locally owned boutique hotels just outside the hotel zone in downtown Cancun.
I love my crew, but hanging out with two guys all the time, well, I need to change of pace. So I'm headed to Isla, Mujeres, the island of the women.
Isla Mujeres is just a few miles away from the mainland and reachable by a short ferry ride. Hey, who let all these dudes in? I was expecting to be greeted by a Mayan goddess.
Once you're on the island, the best way to get around is by golf cart. But remember to bring your driver's license. You're gonna need it.
The island skyline is thankfully void of the skyscraper hotels so prevalent in Cancun. But not to worry, tourism is the thing here and there are plenty of smaller hotels, restaurants, and souvenir shops to choose from. For a brief moment, I forgot I was in Mexico, but then I stopped for lunch. You know what? When it comes to authentic Mexican food, it's really hard to beat, well, Mexico.
The tourism in Cancun is pretty young, but you could still experience some authentic culture here. As for me, I'm ready to get beyond the touristy stuff and experience the other side of Cancun and see what else is out there.
The Yucatan only has a few lakes, but it's often described as being like Swiss cheese. The land is dotted by hundreds of sinkholes, or cenotes, which are water pools that connect a subterranean network of groundwater. There are plenty of cenotes to choose from. We hit up the Cancun Eco Park, which has several that are beautiful and all natural. They also have an underwater cave tour that is absolutely otherworldly. We went underground into the cave and swam the cenotes from one end to another in about 45 minutes. The water was cool, crystal clear, and simply magical.
It's deep. Whew. Deeper than it looked right over there. I think it's like 20 foot deep, but you can see all the way to the bottom.
Except for a few enhancements, this is all natural. And I'm trying to imagine myself back in the Mayan times when they lived here. how they would probably come here and swim and have a good time on a daily basis.
The ancient Maya considered cenotes sacred and sometimes performed sacrifices here. Today, cenotes all over the Yucatan are preserved and enjoyed by locals and visitors alike.
You can find Mayan ruins and religious sites in the most bizarre places. They're a good example of how the Mayan influence is still going strong in the Yucatan.
One of my favorite spots to hang out in all of Mexico is Playa del Carmen. It's just a short drive, but a world away from Cancun. Playa, as it's simply known to the locals, has a more quaint feel than Cancun. Also, you really don't need a car or taxi to get around, as most sites are within walking distance.
In the heart of Playa del Carmen is Quinta Avenida, or Fifth Avenue. And in some ways, it's a lot like New York. You can go shopping, there's lots of good restaurants, and it's sort of touristy. But it's a good spot to start any journey in Playa del Carmen.
Playa means beach in Spanish, and the beaches here are small but gorgeous. From here you can do day trips or just hang around town. It's hard to get lost, but if you do, just ask the local Mayan chief and he'll set you straight. One of the reasons I like Playa del Carmen is because it has accommodations suitable for every budget, from high-end hotels to cheap hostels. But be warned, sometimes you get more than what you pay for.
Oh, man. So we booked this hotel because we got an 8-hour bus ride tonight and we wanted to get some sleep beforehand. But sometimes these hostels, man, they're just like one big party. Yeah, so we're in Playa del Carmen now, and it's a little touristy, but I have to tell you, I don't mind. I've been to some pretty off the beaten path places lately, and this is the first beach I've been to in a while. And even my skin is like just absorbing the vitamin D and the sunshine. It feels so good. And there's a reason tourists flock to Playa del Carmen. It's very relaxing and tranquil and quiet, yet there's plenty to do. Well, I think I'm just gonna chill out here for a little bit before I keep heading on my journey, you know?
The Yucatan Peninsula is a lot of things, but boring is not one of them. Most people visit Cancun or Playa del Carmen and then venture to other locales like the city of Mérida or one of the famous ruins in the area.
On the way to Chichen Itza is a small town, Valladolid. It's very colonial and traditional. Now there seems to be a lot going on here at the plaza, so I'm going to start exploring here.
Valladolid is one of the many small Mexican towns cherishing its history and culture. If you visit on a weekend like me, you may even catch a traditional folkloric dance. Aside from having some seriously good street food, it's a good spot to shop for some unique gifts to take home.
Send a postcard back home. Guayaberas, more guayaberas. Ah, bonita. For a little doll. Oh yes, it's beautiful. Dos, okay? It's good? Okay, gracias. In Mexico, they take Day of the Dead very seriously. When you come to Mexico, you gotta do me a favor and not wear one of these hats. Because that's just the typical tourist hat. Actually, that feels really good. All right, I take it back. You can get a hat like this because it's hot and that feels really good. If you have a little Chihuahua at home, you want to get him a little mariachi hat. It's not, you know, not for the human, I don't think. Now I feel like a tourist, a real tourist. Orale! Mexico is home of Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, and if you haven't heard about it, you need to check it out. They have the decorations year-round on display and for souvenirs, and they really take it seriously here in Mexico. Some people might think this is very ghoulish, but it's not. It actually shows a lot of respect for their ancestors and for the people who have passed on before them, and it really goes back to the indigenous roots. So who knew there could be so much beauty involved with death?
I've always wanted to learn how to make tortillas the old-fashioned way. Well, not really, but my producer wanted me to. So my friend Ismael took me to the village of Guaymas, just outside of Valladolid. If there is a tortilla heaven, then this place is it. I met Marie, the owner of one of the town's 4 tortilla factories. They make hundreds of tortillas every day, 7 days a week, all for the local community. This town may be small, but they sure eat a lot of tortillas, my friend.
Tortillas now are mostly made by machine, but Mari is going to show me how it used to be done by hand. Okay, Mari? So the Mayans have been working with corn since whenever, but when the Mayans met the Spanish, that's when the tortilla came about. Not a day off, 7 days a week, making tortillas, and it is hot, hot, hot work. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. ¿Es posible para mí tratar? ¿Yo aprender? Ah, buenas, okay. Okay. No. Oh, okay, okay. Flatten and turn, flatten and turn. I don't know if I wash my hands. Bonita.
Pero es tu primero.
Primer tortilla. Sí, exacto. Oh, my poor ugly tortilla. Es muy fea. I like my little ugly tortilla. Okay. It's ugly, but it's mine. Mari and her family were not only kind enough to teach us how to make tortillas, they actually made some for us, as well as some soup. So with hospitality like this, I may have to keep coming back.
Overlooking Guaymas, like a protective mother, is the Convent of Santo Domingo. Having traveled extensively through Latin America, I've seen my share of historic churches. But trust me when I say seeing this one in person is special. The church was built in the mid-1600s out of stones from nearby Mayan ruins. After being burned down by Mayan insurgents in the 1800s, they began refurbishing the church in 2003 to keep this beautiful relic alive.
Yeah, this woodwork is amazing. You can even smell like the history because it smells like it smells old.
In a nod to its Mayan influence, the church is protected by double-headed eagles on all sides of the parish. There are a couple of types of wildlife in the Yucatan: Cancun's famous wildlife and the more traditional kind, found only in nature. After a few days on the beach, soaking up some hot Mexican sun, it was time to sample the wildlife of a different sort. Fortunately, the Yucatan has lots of it, but to get there, you have to go deep. One of the best ways to get away is to go to an eco-reserve. We hooked up with biologist Marco Lescano from the private eco-reserve El Eren.
Yeah, so we're headed deep into the Yucatan Peninsula to the El Eden Ecological Reserve. And right now it's pretty smooth, but it's a bumpy ride. It's a long ride. We've been riding like this for about 2 hours.
When you go deep into the jungle like this, you can actually feel the difference. There are no sounds of mankind, just nature. You feel like a definite minority and it feels good. There are frogs, lizards, and tarantulas all over the place. But the king of the jungle here is the elusive jaguar.
So we're here in Cancun, believe it or not. And this is not your typical Cancun experience. I realize we're deep in the Yucatan. There's not a lot here. Very disconnected. No internet, no telephone. Electricity's gonna cut off here in a little bit. But, you know, just want to have a raw travel experience for a couple of days. And more importantly, give back a little bit. The guys here are doing really good work with the environment and with animals. And just wanted to take a couple of days to at least give back. So Marcos, what is an eco reserve exactly?
Well, El Eden, where we're at, is a reserve that was established by a group of people, including myself, scientists and conservationists, that we decided that we could put aside a piece of forest and wetlands into a conservation use.
El Eden was first established in 1994. Since then, it has helped slow down illegal hunting and increase wildlife in the area.
Essentially, the tourists are coming here already because of the incredible environment. However, the disconnect is like, how can the tourists actually help sustain the environment that they're actually coming to see in the first place? One of the things that you guys are doing is allowing people to volunteer. They can come here and volunteer, correct?
Yes, and volunteers come here and aid us in setting up our monitoring Jaguar project.
Monitoring the Jaguar.
Yeah, so they aid us in setting up the cameras, preparing the areas where we're going to put the cameras. They're trained to use the cameras.
For me, I'd like to help out. What's a way, how can I help you, man? Video is my thing, you know?
Well, you could help us setting up some cameras.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one of our camera traps.
Okay.
And we're going to set it so you can volunteer and assist us, and hopefully we'll get a Jaguar once you set up the camera.
Okay.
And I think we're set with that.
Okay.
It will detect motion.
Okay.
It's arming right now, so it'll take a little moment before it shoots.
Okay.
There
we go.
Okay, so it's all set.
Excellent, man.
So
let's go.
The purpose of the camera traps is to document and provide an accurate count of jaguars in the region, which is vital to their survival. El Eden has over 35 cameras to track an estimated 300 jaguars. As Marcos and I head deeper into the jungle, I begin to worry about what might happen should we encounter a jaguar.
Careful here.
I was comforted by the fact that Marcos is bigger and thus, I bet, slower than me. He'd make an easier and much more satisfying meal for any hungry jaguar. So I relaxed.
This is a great spot.
Okay.
The animals should be able to pass through here very nicely, and you can get a good picture because of that open space as well.
Excellent. Okay. And then how high do I need to put it?
Well, actually low. Actually just, 20 centimeters above the ground.
Okay.
That's good enough.
Okay. Critters, all kinds of critters in the
Monster centipede.
How's that, man?
There we go.
Okay.
So that's
it's good to go.
Plane. It's a good plane, yeah.
It's a good angle.
It's good to go.
It's ready?
Yeah.
Okay. When volunteers come, how long do they typically stay?
Well, normally they stay for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Up to sometimes a month and up to 2 months.
Right. And learn the ropes and then be able to get back.
Right.
They stay in places like this?
Yeah, this is our one of our cabins.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Let's check it out.
Let's check it out. No?
Thank you.
Check out the
Wow, what a view, man. This is awesome. All right, let's check out the inside, man. Oh, yeah, so you got simple accommodations, with mosquito netting. This is paradise. You're up in the trees with an incredible breeze. If you're like stressed out and working a city job and you're like, money, I gotta make money, and you're just all stressed out and you gotta take a break, this would be a tremendous way to get perspective and see, like, you know what, all those things I was worried about, they're not that important. This is pretty cool right here.
The mosquitoes left me alone long enough so that I could appreciate the magnificent forest from this point of view. I was thankful Marcos and the El Eden Reserve had the forethought to preserve a place like this. Later that night, we were shooting a tip with the unwieldy title of "Don't leave your bags open on the floor when you're in the jungle" when...
Oh, no, not cool. There he is. Come on, you gotta go. No, the door is that way. There he goes. Oh, man.
I've got to remember to follow my own advice before I film these things.
I'm in Cancun playing football, but not soccer, American football. I'm hanging out with the Leones, or the Lions, a college football team. And you know what? They represent everything college football should be about.
The University of Anáhuac's football team is led by Coach Marco Martos. He's an ex-NFL player who moved back to his native Mexico to bring football and a whole lot more to the youth of Cancun.
There's actually quite a bit of history of football in Mexico, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, we got started. We are neighbors, right? The United States and Mexico, we are neighbors. And there's a big influence of football. Starting from that, we have all these teams, the little teams in Mexico, the little league for kids from 6-year-old to 18 years old, on up to college. And every city in Mexico has a football team.
The Leones have already accomplished a lot in less than 10 years.
You got what, like 1,200 students here?
1,200. You're exactly right.
And you've been around just for 7 years, and already you got a field, a stadium, sponsorship, and a championship under your belt, right? You won the championship, the national championship, your third year?
Our third year, yeah, it was kind of a shock for that because, I mean, like you said, Cancun, you think about beaches, the nightclub, you think about all things, but you don't think about the football. But see, what people doesn't understand is how important is this football team. And I would say this, it's not because winning or losing game, it's because the kids in Cancun need something to take them away from the alcohol, from drugs, from being at night all the time.
Tell me how football has impacted your life.
The school, first of all, university, and the chance to get better in my studies.
Okay, yeah.
And also the friendship that comes with sports and all that discipline, the courage, determination, and that kind of stuff. I believe it has strengthened my values.
Your character?
My character.
You guys have practice like crazy early, like 6 a.m. every day.
Coach starts 6, practice at 6:30, and we do that because if the players are here at 6 o'clock in the morning in the facilities, that means that they couldn't go out the night before. We are preparing them not for a championship, we are preparing them for life.
Right.
We're telling them, what are you going to do the day that your wife asks for a divorce, or the day that you are fired on your job? What are you going to do? Are you going to go there and cry, or are you going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and search for a job, or go and work as hard as you can?
The Leones are making a difference on and off the field. Meeting the players and coaches from this Mexican football team gave me new insight into the lives of the everyday citizens of Cancun.
A lot of people, they see beaches, all-inclusive resorts. If you go to Playa del Carmen, it's very upscale. But then there's another side of Cancun, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have a Cancun where people live and go to job every day, and people that doesn't go to the beach sometimes, not often as they want, because they got family to take care and they got jobs. We focus on the people who lives here. We focus on helping the people that it's making this town, because if you disappear all these people in downtown, there won't be people attending hotels, there won't be people running hotels, running the bars.
Right.
So there's a whole culture behind what the tourists see that is make the city function.
Meeting the Leones gave me precious perspective about the flip side of what a city driven by tourism is really like. I was also heartened at how the Yucatan preserves its Mayan culture and precious natural resources. The natural beauty and culture of the Yucatan was a largely unexpected pleasure. But as I wind down my journey, it's the people that I think about most and that will leave the most indelible impact.